President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping will meet on Wednesday in California for talks on trade, Taiwan, and fraught U.S. Chinese relations in the first engagement in a year between the leaders of the world's two biggest economies. The White House has said for weeks that it anticipated Biden and Xi would meet on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in San Francisco, but negotiations went down to the eve of the gathering, which kicks off on Saturday. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said in a statement the leaders would discuss the continued importance of maintaining open lines of communication and how they can continue to responsibly manage competition and work together where our interests align, particularly on transnational challenges that affect the international community. China's foreign ministry said in a statement on Friday that she would attend APEC from Tuesday to Friday at Biden's invitation and would take part in the U.S China summit. Two senior Biden administration officials who earlier briefed reporters on the condition of anonymity under ground rules set by the White House said that the leaders would meet in San Francisco Bay Area but declined to offer further details because of security concerns. Thousands of protesters are expected to descend on San Francisco during the summit. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng met for a second day of talks on Friday in San Francisco, the latest in a string of senior-level engagements between the nations in recent months aimed at easing tensions. Yellen said that during the talks, she emphasized that the U.S. seeks a healthy economic relationship with China. She called on China to crack down on private Chinese firms and financial institutions that the U.S. believes are skirting international sanction to do business with Russia, and she raised concerns about Chinese export controls on graphite and other critical minerals. Yellen, who invited China in July, said she accepted an invitation to make a return trip to Beijing next year. The Biden-Xi meeting is not expected to lead to many, if any, major announcements, and differences between the two powers certainly won't be resolved. Instead, one official said, Biden is looking towards managing the competition, preventing the downside risk of conflict, and ensuring channels of communication are open. The official said they believed it would be Xi's first visit to San Francisco since he was young Communist Party leader. Biden will also likely press Xi on using China's influence on North Korea during heightened anxiety over an increased pace of ballistic missile tests by North Korea as well as Pyongyang providing munitions to Russia for its war in Ukraine. The Democratic president is also expected to let Xi know that he would like China to use its burgeoning sway over Iran to make clear that Tehran or its proxies should not take action that could lead to expansion of the Israel-Hamas war. His administration believes the Chinese, a big buyer of Iranian oil, have considerable leverage with Iran, which is a major backer of Hamas. Differences in the already complicated U.S. Chinese relationship have only sharpened in the last year, with Beijing bristling over new U.S. export controls on advanced technology. Biden ordering the shooting down of a Chinese spy balloon after it traversed the continental U.S., and Chinese anger over a stopover in the U.S. by Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen earlier this year, among other issues. China claims the island as its territory. Biden and Xi last met nearly a year ago on the sidelines of the Group of 20 summit in Bali, Indonesia. In the nearly 3-hour meeting, Biden objected directly to China's coercive and increasingly aggressive actions towards Taiwan and discussed Russia's invasion of Ukraine and other issues. Xi stressed that the Taiwan question is at the very core of China's core interests, the bedrock of the political foundation of China-US relations, and the first red line that must not be crossed in China-US relations. Next week's meeting comes as the US braces for a potentially bumpy year for the US-Chinese relations, with Taiwan set to hold a presidential election in January and the US holding its own presidential election next November.